Everything we do is about collaboration, conservation, and education. How Conservation Fusion got started is I started out as a zookeeper. I worked at the Omaha Zoo for 13 years, and I spent the last about 8 years working in the Center for Conservation and Research in the genetics lab. And we were working with different people and different projects on a global scale with a real focus in Madagascar, and it just seemed like we could learn all these different things about wild populations of endangered species. But at the end of the day, it seemed like none of that mattered if there was no habitat left for them to go back into. And it seemed like so clear that conservation is all about people. At the time, nobody was doing education programs in Madagascar. And so through my work at in the genetics lab, I traveled to Madagascar because we were working with Malagasy students, and it just seemed like the next step was to really work with people, local people. And if we want to save endangered species, it's all about empowering local people and local communities because, you know, the wildlife is really in their hands. So that's how we got started. I think one of the things I'm most proud of in our work at Conservation Fusion is the Dream School, because it's a foundation for conservation and education in the entire region. And so many things have blossomed out of the construction of the Dream School. At Conservation Fusion, we're really not an organization that builds schools, but we are an organization that works with communities and tries to meet some of their basic needs. So the way the Dream School came about is we have a very close relationship with the village elder called the Nauda and the tribal community. And they came to us, and the Nauda said, hey, I really feel like I have something to offer my country of Madagascar. However, I never had the chance to do that because I don't know how to read or write. And it's our dream for our children and grandchildren to be able to read and write so that they can have an opportunity to do something for Madagascar to protect and preserve the unique biodiversity and have opportunities to make a difference. So that's how the Dream School came about, because there was no school there, and that's what the community asked for. When we first built the school, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to just be a building, that we were going to have trained teachers, and now we've invested in teachers who are building self-esteem, learning new ways to educate and inspire the children that they're teaching. With the success of the Dream School, we had students that were passing the national exam from Lavavolo for the first time ever. So then what happens when all these students are passing the national exam for the first time from this village? Well, they're going on to secondary education, which has never been done before. And so that's how we started the scholarship program. And we now work together with the parents and the community to rent a house in the next village so that these kids can continue their education onto secondary school. And we even have one of the students from the Dream School that's now in high school, and he can't wait to get back to his community of Lavavolo because he wants to give back and he wants to be a conservation leader in the area. So it's kind of like the Dream School has made everything come full circle and created a foundation for conservation and education in the entire region. That's really how the Dream School came into play. And in 2014 is when we built the first Dream School, and we had about 70 kids in the school. And then a couple years later, they came back to us and they were like, we now have so many kids coming from so many villages. They were up to over 200 kids at the Dream School. So they had the plans drawn out and everything, and they said, we really want you to be our partner to build a second school. Our team was a little bit overwhelmed because we're already working at 3 sites in Madagascar. So we kind of just put it out there like, hey, the community has asked us for a second Dream School, and you know, we can't do it alone. Like it's going to take more than us. And that's when Blank Park Zoo really stepped up. They helped us fundraise, and within 1 year, thanks to Blank Park Zoo, we were able to raise the funds and build the second Dream School. So it was only through that partnership with Blank Park Zoo, and I love the way that they also incorporate the community in the conservation projects. And when people are visiting the zoo here at Blank Park, that $1 goes right back to the conservation program. So it really is like a team effort and a true partnership. And we couldn't have done that second dream school or the first, or protect the lemurs and the tortoise populations in Lavavolo without the partnership we have with Blank Park Zoo and the community. The reason that people are so important in protecting the wildlife and the incredible biodiversity in Madagascar is because the wildlife and biodiversity in Madagascar exists nowhere else on Earth. 80% or 8 out of 10 of all the plants and animals found in Madagascar are found nowhere else on the planet. There's rainforest there, but there's also dry spiny forests. There's littoral forests. And I think the thing that Madagascar is most known for is the lemurs. So the lemurs that are found in Madagascar are found nowhere else on Earth. Only the island of Madagascar, which is about the size of Texas, and there are 113 species of lemurs, and they come in all shapes and sizes. I think most people know the ringtail lemur or some of the better known species, but of those 113 species of lemurs that they have, the smallest is the mouse lemur, which is about the size of like a hamster with a tail. It's the smallest primate in the world. All the way up to the indri, which is like an athletic panda that jumps through the trees and has a call that sounds like a humpback whale, and it's about as large as a kindergartner. So lemurs come in all different shapes and sizes. The way that the island evolved over time, the biogeography, just created just such an abundance of endemic species. And because people are part of the conservation challenges, they have to be part of the solutions. And there's more than 30 million people living on the island of Madagascar, and they live in extreme poverty, making usually less than $2 a day as an average income. So people are depending upon the same forest that wildlife is depending on. So at Conservation Fusion, we work so hard to create a balance and a coexistence between people and nature. I think that sometimes when people hear the story of what we're doing in Madagascar, people are like, well, I need to go to Madagascar. And I think that there are so many ways that just anyone can help. One of the wonderful things that we've done in collaboration with not just Blank Park Zoo, but the whole community around Blank Park Zoo is every year we focus on One Health, which is healthy people, healthy environment, healthy wildlife. And so we hand out these hygiene kits to the entire community that we work with. So everybody gets a bar of soap, a toothbrush, some toothpaste, and a new pair of underwear. So we've worked with Blank Park Zoo and the surrounding community to have like underwear drives, and we've taken those hygiene kits to the community in Madagascar, and it just makes everything connected. And we're all working towards the same goal of One Health on a local and global scale. So you can learn more, share what you learn. You can always visit the zoo, and you can always go to conservationfusion.org and make a donation. It will go directly to impact conservation and education in Madagascar.